Let's work on an intuitive watercolor painting inspired by a snowy winter scene. Intuitive paintings have no plan or forethought, they just kind of come together as you go. I've mostly explored intuitive abstracts, but I've been getting more confident in exploring intuitive realism. I have a goal of building my confidence in surrealism, but I feel like I have to get more confident in realism before I can break it down to surrealism, if that makes sense. So the last couple of months I've done a few watercolor paintings that have been based on realism, and I use references for those paintings. Maybe I'll do a long form video of the process behind those at some point, but I had been using references to see how good I could get at realism with watercolor specifically, and also a little bit of acrylic, but mostly watercolor because it's just an easier transportable medium that I can kind of do anywhere. But the idea of creating something realistic from my brain was extremely intimidating. I have always been somebody who has been pretty confident that I was not able to paint or draw from my head, and I always felt like, even growing up when I explored drawing as a kid, that I needed a reference. And as a kid, someone somewhere told me that using a reference was cheating. And so I always felt like I wasn't an artist. I didn't have any natural ability. And so I didn't really nurture it the way that I probably could have if I had continued to just use the references, which is what a lot of artists, if not all artists, especially those who go to school for art, do. And I just missed that memo at some point. And so going in and creating this image in my head, which was just a watercolor scene in a really warm, light environment. So like a warm, glowing, orangey yellow sky in the middle of a path with some snow or some ice. It was kind of my vision. And so I've been playing with light with watercolor, and I have loved using the fluorescent color to do that. And so I've learned that you have to do a fluorescent under painting for the watercolor and let that kind of dry, and then go over with the darker elements of the sky and leave some of that fluorescent coming through. And also maybe some of the white space from the white paper is also helpful because it gives that illusion of this burst of bright light. And so that's what I'm exploring here, is creating this glowing orange sky and that tree line that was very stressful to create because I didn't love the color that I had, but I knew I had to just kind of keep going with it because it was supposed to be this shadowy, foggy winter scene. And as I started to blend in some more of that blue-gray color, it started to come together more. But pretty much throughout this entire process, I am holding my breath and afraid that I'm going to mess it up. I actually did technically kind of mess it up because I didn't capture this in the video. It cut directly to the point where the orange spread all the way to the bottom of the paper, but I actually should have left under the tree line white if I had wanted to create snow the way I really wanted to create it. And so I was struggling with that at certain points, but I'll talk more about that when I get to filling in that part of the paper. But anyways, I'm going in and I'm letting some of that base watercolor dry a bit, and I'm going in with the darker colors over it. And it's not completely dry. I had toyed with the idea of taking my blow dryer or blow tool to dry this layer completely before, or dry the base layer completely before going in with like the blue and the gray. But I also kind of wanted the watercolor to blend a little bit in with that orange and yellow. I didn't want to have too harsh of a layer line, if that makes sense. Some of my articulation is not great when it comes to the creative process, but I didn't go to art school, so bear with me. But so I brought in some salt at a certain point because I wanted to have a bit of a snowflake effect. And so the salt is really nice. If you add salt to the watercolor while it's still drying, the salt will kind of pull up some of the color, and you'll get this really cool texture that I'll show you at some point. But I didn't do a great job of filming this one. I actually didn't plan to make a long form video of this process, so I skipped a couple parts, and I also didn't show the tape removal, which I normally would, and I didn't really give a lot of time to showing you the final result, so I apologize. At this point, I'm going in with the path, and I know as I'm doing this that I should be drying the orange layer here and not just going in with the path, because I knew that the brown was going to bleed, but I was impatient and didn't feel like drying it, so I just started going in with the path, and it immediately got too blurry and too thick and I was not happy with it. But I told myself, and I've been telling myself, as I've been telling you all, that it is important to just push through and finish your intuitive painting no matter what. Get it to a point where you feel like you finished it, and that will help you continue to paint and to continue to build confidence. So that's what I did. I just kept going, and I still at this point should have probably just let myself stop, but I didn't. So I'm actually going in and erasing some of the thickness by taking the brush without any paint on it, so a clean brush, and just kind of wiping away some of the color. But that wasn't really doing much. And then I started to kind of like the way the brown was bleeding into the rest of it. So I was just going with it, and I liked the way it felt. I liked the way my brush felt. I liked the process and what was happening. So even though I didn't love what it looked like, I liked the process. So I kept going with it. And I just kept trusting myself, even though I kind of didn't know what I was doing. I was adding some shadows in places that I don't even know if shadows would have existed, but it just started to come together regardless. And even though the end result of this I didn't love, I still decided that I was going to share it, and I still even have it up for sale on my stories on Instagram, because I'm like, you know what? My self-judgment and my perfectionist is so strong that it skews the outcome of almost every piece that I do. And so even those pieces that I love, I probably could love them more if I didn't let my inner critic ruin my joy of what I do. And the inner critic is so loud so much of the time that my end result is blurred, because I'm only seeing the things I should have done, or I could have done, or I would have done differently. And so if you listen to your brain throughout the process, you risk stopping a lot sooner. And so don't always trust your thoughts. Everything you think is not always true. And so giving yourself the opportunity to keep going is so important. You can see at this point now that the salt has dried a bit up into the corners of the painting where the blue is, and you can see that kind of snowflakey like effect that it creates. And I wish it had been a little more defined towards the middle, but I would have had to add a bit more of that blue or done a couple of things differently. So I'm just accepting that that effect only really worked up in the top area. Here I'm kind of working now with the fact that the bottom area was supposed to be snow, but I have orange, and so you can't really do much with white watercolor. It's still pretty translucent, but I did go in with white watercolor and create kind of a textural element like there is snow. And maybe the orange that's peeking through is like a reflection in ice of the sky. So maybe that orange that pokes through actually makes sense after all. And I'm actually adding some more of that bluish dark gray color to the tree line and allowing that white to bleed into that tree line a bit. So it kind of created the illusion of maybe some snow-covered trees, or like the snow and the tree line are kind of bleeding together. So I really liked what that looked like. So I kept going. I let the white dry a little bit and then added a little more white. I could have gone in with gouache maybe to get more of that white to pop, but I was liking the way it looked. So I started to blend in a little bit of the blue to kind of give that icy effect and to give more of that illusion of snow. And it kind of starts to pull everything together in a way that I'm liking. There's even a bit of that white that's bleeding into the brown path, which kind of looks like ice to me, and I like that a lot. So you can see it's really about letting the image come to you, and it's really about trusting the process. And if there's ever a time for you to understand and really integrate that statement of trusting the process, it's this, because you see how much this painting evolves and changes as I go. And it can be, like I've said, really easy to just let go and give up at a point where you feel like you've ruined it, when really you just needed to keep going and try another layer or another technique. Now, this is the part where things start to go wonky for me with this painting. I had a very different image in my head of how this was going to look, and I was tired. I wanted to just kind of get this done, so I rushed through it a little more maybe than I wanted to. But what I wish I had done looking back is I wish I had stopped at that tree line right there. I wish I had just created the illusion of some more defined trees along the dark blue tree line edge. And I wish I did not bring the trees into the snowy foreground, because I just kind of lost the vision at this point. And the trees, I really didn't feel like taking a lot of time on. Like if I had just done this in a way that I didn't get sick of it. By the end, I would have probably done more defined birch trees or done something where the trees had more of a story, where I feel like they just kind of fell flat. But I'll let you be the judge of that if you want to comment and let me know your thoughts on this part. I mean, again, I don't know that anybody has a vision of where this was going other than me, and I was trying to not hold on to the vision. So I kept going and I kept working on it, but I definitely would have approached this part of the painting differently. I may have even just stopped here and not done a tree line at all, but this was meant to be a study. It was meant to be a piece that I was learning from, and I just let the process keep going. I was enjoying creating the trees. I was enjoying the way they felt. I wouldn't have kept going if I didn't, but I wasn't loving the way they looked. And I kept telling myself throughout the process of working on these trees that they'll come together. It'll come together and it'll all look great. And I just feel like for this one, it never really fully came all together for me the way I wanted it to. So here I'm actually trying to create the illusion of like some snow, adding in some gray. I toyed with the idea of making this tree in the corner here a birch tree, so I added some details, like there was that kind of marking on the trunk that you'd find on a birch tree, but I just wasn't in it at this point. So I really want you to try out that challenge of finishing something that you start that you hate and pushing through those moments where you tell yourself, well, I've ruined it, because I really felt like I ruined it here. And once I start adding in more of the trees, it starts to feel a little bit better than in this very moment right here where I know I was ready to quit. But overall, it still became a painting that I felt like I could sell. It still felt like a painting that had a story. It just wasn't in the trees. It was in the sky, and it was in that snowy, foggy tree line in the distance. And I probably could have pushed it further, but I set myself a time limit. I really didn't want to work on this painting longer than an hour. And I was like, I don't want to ruin it. So I debated with myself whether I was going to push it past the trees and maybe try to bring it back all together. But I actually was planning on framing this in a frame that was circular. And so I knew that those trees in the corner that I wasn't loving had a potential for being cut off anyways. I didn't actually test it until I took the tape off, but I knew that those trees might not become as much part of the full picture when I put it in the frame anyways. So again, just letting myself do what I want. But these trees on the left side were definitely more quickly done and more messy than the ones on the right side, because I was just frustrated at this point. And so I started speeding it up and loosening it up just a bit, adding a few more thicker trees in the foreground that look a little bit more like pine trees. But overall, I was very sick of the trees. This point though, right here where I made it, I kind of was like, oh, those look like little birdies on the branches. So I was finding the silver linings. I was trying to keep myself in the fact that this was far more skilled of a painting than I could have ever anticipated I would do intuitively, even a couple of months ago. So it's okay if the trees weren't perfect, because next time I will focus more on the trees if I need to. I've learned from this that I would have approached them differently. I don't know exactly how I would have approached them differently, other than maybe making them more defined individual trees like birch trees, or stopping the defined trees at that darker tree line. But anyways, I learned something, and that's all that matters. Your relationship with your process is so important, and I'm going to repeat that in almost all of my videos. Your relationship to your process is important, and if you demand of your process perfection, if you demand that everything that your process produces is perfect, it is going to burn out. The process is going to feel weighted and heavy and burdened. It's just like when you tell a little kid that they have to do something, and what do? They say, no, I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. So if there's a part of you inside that is always acting as a drill sergeant about your process, and you're responding to that, that's going to come out in what you create. And so even if you're a realistic artist, someone left a comment actually on one of my videos recently that said, I don't like a mess. Sorry, goodbye. And about my intuitive abstract painting. And in my head, I'm like, oh my gosh, this person needs this process. They need this mess so much if they took the time to leave this comment. Because making a mess, making art that is ugly, that has no intention, that isn't meant to impress anybody, is so vital to the process of enjoying what you're doing and getting to a point where you're confident in what you're doing, even when it's messy. How amazing is it to be able to paint something without a care about who sees it, what it looks like? How amazing is it when we're a little kid and we put our fingers in that finger paint and we just spread it all around with not a care in the world? Why does that spark, that lack of caring, go away when we're an adult when it comes to art? There is no reason why we cannot create a different role for that drill sergeant. We can give that drill sergeant the finger paints and say, here, try this, see what happens. There's a reason that part exists. There's a reason that you have a perfectionist that tells you that everything you need to create has to be something you love or that is beautiful or worthy of being shown. There's a reason. And so that drill sergeant has a purpose, and we don't want to send it away and tell it to shut up and go away. We want to just rearrange the script for it a little bit. Allow it into the process, letting it know that the beautiful art is coming, but it comes from the mess, it comes from the mistakes, and that you are no less worthy of an artist, no less worthy of creating art just because everything you create is not a masterpiece. Even if nothing you create is a masterpiece, the process itself is the masterpiece. Thank you so much for painting with me. I really enjoy these chats and these voiceovers. I love talking through my process in a real and authentic way. So if you enjoyed this, please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment, let me know. It means the world, and I still am so new to this YouTube world. I'm still doing my videos in portrait mode because I'm too lazy to edit in landscape, and I just want to connect to people with my process and with the ways in which my process has helped and saved me. So thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you soon.